Hey guys, what is going on? This is Ip of RageQuitTV, gonna be casting a game between Mill.Stephano and TSL.Inori. It is a PVZ on Daybreak, and yes, this is MLG Winter, game number 1 of this BO3 between Stephano and Inori. And since it is on Daybreak, Stephano does have an advantage going into this game, not just because Stephano's best matchup is EVP, but Protoss just generally have a hard time in this matchup because it is so hard for them to get to third base. I mean, they just love staying at second base and just hanging out there for a while. Once they go all the way up to 3 bases, then kind of opens them up to Zerg multi-pronged attacks and whatnot. We do have the 9 pylon going out, and Inori is going to be scouting. Stephano, I believe he does favor the 14 pool, and we'll see exactly when he ends up throwing this down, because I'm really interested in seeing how Stephano does ZVP, because he seems to get to 200 supply before anyone else can. He just has so sick rote macro early game, if that makes sense. It doesn't maybe, but anyways, we'll see exactly how he does it. And I said 14, maybe it's a 13 pool he does. 13 pool, also relatively common. We do have the probe now going into Stephano's mirror line. Gonna get a scout out, gonna see all the drones, and then just go out and leave. He knows, okay, there could be a hatch first still, so he is gonna be going down here, going on patrol, just seeing if a drone does go down. Stephano is going to be building his pool at 15, it looked like. So Stephano does go for the 15 pool, and it looks like he may be trying to go for a 15 hatch. No, he doesn't have any level. We'll keep an eye on that if he builds any drones. The drone for Stephano is going to be coming down. He has 100 supply. Just going to be scaring this one probe away, and Inori, we'll see if he ends up throwing down a cannon. Inori, though, going to be going for a Nexus first, so already his Nexus is ahead of Stephano's hatch, so Inori has the advantage right there. But again, it's very hard to take the third base, and Stephano getting that one hatch up. Inori now going to be going into Stephano's base. He failed at blocking it, and since the pool's almost up, it's not really worth trying to cannon rush it. So Inori does come up, sees that no gas is being mined, and that is about all the information he can get. Now the probe, he has a choice. Does he want to go out and hide, or does he want to just keep on scouting? Since Stephano doesn't leave one overlord right here, he doesn't know how the probe left the base, and that is good information. Stephano, though, going to be moving out with both of his overlords. Generally, you do see one overlord stay back at home, just sit on this area or somewhere so they can see if the probe actually leaves the base. And Stephano, well, he has the overlord right here, so he can see the probe never will come back home as long as he keeps an eye out on this one opening. The probe should return home in 30 seconds, but he does scout it out with Lings. It is very important for the Zerg player to keep an eye if the probe does get home, though, because this probe didn't have to go and check that third base, which he didn't see Stephano taking. May have seen a drone. But he could always hide the probe up in like the top left corner, and if the Zerg player has no idea if it returned home or not, he has no idea if it's hiding or not. So definitely one of the things you have to keep an eye on with your overlord scouting pattern is you always can see the probe return home, either by seeing if it leaves your base, or if it actually makes it all the way back home and goes in. And it looked like Inori did go for a forge, then a gateway, then a cannon, which does mean his warp gate research can finish around, I believe it's 7:10. It's been a while since I casted a PVZ. I'm a little bit rusty, but I believe around 7:10 is when this warp gate can finish, but Inori doesn't really have any chrono boost saved up. Only has one, and he is not using it just yet, and not getting +1 on this forge. We will see what Inori ends up doing. These simulators go down at different times. You can see about a 100 mineral differential between those two assimilators. Inori is going to be scaring off that one Ling of Stephano, and that Zealot is now going to be moving out to try to take control of the watchtower. And Stephano, that one overlord does go over here, stays on this high ground so he can't be spotted until like a Void Ray or Phoenix comes down, and that's what the overlord is looking for. He also has an overlord perched right here, kind of on the same spot where it can't be seen, and he is just keeping an eye on the gas, because seeing gas down at this natural tells you exactly what the Protoss player is doing. We do have Inori now going to be going for that +1 attack, but he's not really chrono boosting his warp gates at all, I don't think. So, no, he is. As I say that, he does chrono boost them. We'll see exactly when they do finish. I'm guessing it's going to be more around 7:30 than the 7:15 or 7:10 that I predicted earlier on. And a few Zealots moving out from Inori, and this could be a small mistake because Stephano, his Queen Drone Micro can take out 2 Zealots without taking a single loss. And he also has some Lings down here, so that is not going to do all that much damage. Those Zealots do go down for relatively free. Going into this loss tab, you can see Stephano losing 2 units and 2 Lings. Hasn't lost a single drone yet. So he lost 2 Lings, and he's killed 2 Zealots and a Probe so far this game. So Stephano being relatively decent with his, I guess, trading. The Stalker is going to come poke at this one hatch. We do have Metabolic Boost started by Stephano, but his lair did come first. That is one of the big differences between Stephano and a lot of Zergs, at least at the time of MLG. Stephano favors going for the lair before the Speedling research, because if Blink Stalkers do come out, they just decimate non-speed roaches, and they actually beat Speedlings. As odd as it sounds, that timing just beats Speedlings out. You don't really have anything besides Speedlings to deal with the Blink Stalkers at the time. Your Infestors don't have time to come out yet. But if you rush to this lair when the Blink does hit, which Inori is going for, Stephano will have Roach speed. And those two kind of counteract each other, and Stephano can either just storm ahead and demolish Inori's force, or he can hold it on at least until he gets Infestors up. And we see Stephano being very nice on his injects. That Queen injecting has 4 energy as she injects. Almost flawless right now. This Queen 38 energy, so missing 1, 32. So he missed 1 inject so far on his natural and main. And those Lings are going to go for surround. There is a cannon protecting this pylon, and that's not something you see every day. Those Lings are, though, get a complete surround on everything. And this whole force is not going to be going down. This cannon is up to 7 kills, and that is definitely proven to be beneficial. But that roach speed just about done. The Lings mainly died. Stephano did keep those roaches, and you can see his micro now on those roaches, trying to keep them all alive. Not that many Stalkers left compared to the number of roaches that are going to be out on the map. And now that they have roach speed, those Stalkers don't stand a chance, so they do blink and are going to be running away. Inori at 62 supply, Stephano at 118, now 121. And Stephano just looking so good right now. This is the point of the game where a lot of Protoss have troubles. Inori going to try to pick off some reinforcements while he can get the small units versus small unit trades. But Stephano does catch up, taking out 2 Stalkers right there. The other Stalkers getting chased. Now get another blink off. Those Lings can catch up to him very easily. Sentries do get moved over at this natural, but it's not looking good for Inori. Stephano is now going to be able to take out this Cybernetic Squad. We do have a Robo facility on the way for Inori to get Immortals out. But I don't think any number of Immortals is going to save you when you have this many Roaches at your doorstep. Stephano gonna be running in here, and the pylon goes out. That does unpower the Forge and Warp Gate. Not a huge deal, as Stephano does now march his way on in, getting up close and personal to all those Stalkers. And now 125 supply, 256. There goes the GG by Inori. Stephano gonna be taking that first game. It is on Daybreak, and we will be going into SC2 Gears, except it did close on me, so
updates available.
Let's see if I can quickly do this. Maybe I'll just do one at the very end with all the games, if it takes me a second to figure this out. By figure this out, I mean find where I put the replays. I found them. So, Inori, Steph, Daybreak, boom. Okay, we are here. So go to the 10-minute mark. I did say he did miss 2 injects. So let's see what this looks like. So 17.2 on this natural hatch. That is not good. His average gap is 9.5. Again, Stephano, the thing I find like most curious by Stephano is he is so darn good. But if you ever look at his hotkeys, he never goes beyond 4. He has all his queens always on 3, his hatches always on 4, And then everything on 1 and 2. That's all his units. Sometimes he'll get all his Urchas on 1, all his Infestors on 2, but majority late game, it's all his ground forces on 1, all his air forces on 2. That's kind of how he separates it. I don't know how he does it. Maybe he just doesn't hit those hotkeys too often unless he wants to pull everything back, and it's all just mouse, and yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's all mouse when he goes into those battles. But definitely a little bit interesting on his hotkeys. Let's see. Let's go right here. How's he keeping them here? So you can see a Scouting Ling on 2, and everything else is just on 1. And that's just how Stephano does play. But if we go into his first-person view, you can see that's not really just a 1A. So whenever he has those dotted circles around units, that is him selecting. So that battle's about to begin. So let's see if we can quickly see how he does this. So now moving those units back. And notice, as he puts those all the way to the side, doesn't have a hotkey. So he has to go all the way back there and now sees them. He is just very, very fast to pull this off and has great mouse accuracy. Hits 1, and now everything does get surrounded. Going back, building units, selecting stuff. And now he control click those lings, pull them back to get away from those zealots, and then put them on the stalkers. That was pretty cool. So you can see right there, controlling those lings very nicely. But look how many times in this battle that Stephano goes into his hatches. And this is something where if you're looking to improve your game, this is what you have to do. How many times Stephano just cycles back to his hatches? I can't even call them all out during this battle because he does it so frequently. In. Okay. Hatch, hatch. No, hatch. Hatch. Queens. Inject. Hatch. Hatch, hatch. Hatch. And also, when he builds units, there we go. You can see, as he builds them, he does shift 1 to add those units into his hotkey. Pretty cool move there, but yeah. Hope you enjoyed game number 1. We will be going into game number 2 shortly.